Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. I want to welcome you to this monthly community call we have convened by our Chartres Academy, which we've been convening every month, quite literally since 2005. So we're in our 20th anniversary year of the Chartres gathering. I'm very mindful that next week is Valentine's, so I want to wish all of you a very, very happy Valentine's. And it comes to mind each year when we convene our February Chartres community call, just how central, and I would say foundational, our annual pilgrimage to Chartres has been since that year when I first entered the university. It was in February of 2005, and we convened our first pilgrimage to France in the footsteps of Mary Magdalene, at the conclusion of which we went to Chartres for the first time, or at least I went to Chartres for the first time. And that began our annual odyssey to that sacred site. It's a site known and associated with the sacred feminine for many thousands of years. It's the cathedral, if you know it, is at the top of a hill, the hill of Chartres. And right at the top of the hill is a grotto, and the waters of the earth come up and flow in a spring that has long since been welled up, literally with a well, but you can still draw water from it if you have a very long rope on your bucket. And we are preparing in a few months, July 6th through 12th, to return for our 20th visit as a group, as a university. And we'll be celebrating the sixth of the liberal arts every year since 2006. We've been investigating one of the liberal arts, and so the liberal art this year is the liberal art of geometrica. It's arguably along with arithmetica, the fourth of the liberal arts. It is the foundational art for the entire liberal arts. You may remember that above the portal, as you entered Plato's Academy 2,500 years ago in ancient Athens, it said, let he who enter only enter if he has studied geometry. Because the deep understanding that the ancients had was that all being, both manifest and unmanifest, both visible and invisible, are comprised of sacred number and sacred shapes, which refract in the manifest world as sacred art, sacred shapes, and sacred sound. So you have arithmetic, you have geometry, you have light, you have manifestation, you have sound. And it was in expression of this deep truth that Pythagoras first, and then Plato and Aristotle second, designed the seven liberal arts. And this year, as we approach liberal art, we're particularly excited because we're going to be having as our lead faculty Veda Austin, who's the preeminent researcher into water. And we have had her on previous community calls. We've been having her on Humanity Rising, and she's going to be speaking to us about the living intelligence and sacred geometry of water. And we have a special additional announcement we want to make, and that is that Bertie Jaworski, the world-renowned remote viewer, who's very famous for her ability to remote view and also to communicate with extraterrestrials. It turns out that Bertie Jaworski often uses water as a portal for remote viewing. So it's going to be very, very exciting to be in Chartres with all of you this year, come July, and have Veda talking to us about the mysteries and the sacred geometry of water, and then have Bertie Jaworski there talking about remote viewing and how to use water as a portal into other realms through remote viewing, which she does extraordinarily skillfully. And all of you know that I work on UFO, UAP disclosure, and what's up for humanity, which I believe is the central challenge for humanity. And in fact, the predicate for solving all the problems that are pressing upon us is learning the mother tongue, acknowledging that we are not alone, acknowledging that extraterrestrial intelligence have been here on planet Earth for a significantly long time. And the greatest challenge for humanity at this moment is to learn how to communicate intelligibly with them so they can share with us the secrets of the cosmos and teach us to live once again in harmony with all that is. So all that's going to be discussed in Chartres as we come up, but the prism is water and the sacred geometry of water. So thank you everyone for joining us. We want to now turn to our subject for today, looking at the astrology of the year of the snake. And to introduce that and to make our own comments about what's in store for all of us in Chartres is my distinguished partner from Persia, the co-director of the Chartres Academy, Banafsheh Sayad, who you all know. So Banafsheh, I welcome you, and please take the podium.
Thank you so much, Jim. Hello, everyone. So good to be with you here today. 1 month has passed since the devastating fires swept through Los Angeles, where I live, and I'm deeply grateful to each of you who kept me and this city in your prayers. Thanks to the extraordinary bravery of our firefighters and the mercy of Mother Nature, I was able to return home after 10 days of evacuation, grateful that my home and neighborhood remain intact. Yet my heart aches for my fellow Angelinos who have lost so much. In the face of this calamity, I continue to be deeply moved by the selflessness and heroism within our community. These moments remind us of our strength when we unite together, reinforcing what it feels like to shift from a world of separation and competition to one of love and cooperation. This year holds the promise of profound transformation, which began with a big bang in Los Angeles. Will we rise to meet the energies of this time? Will we step into our role as custodians of our Mother Earth, as she has called us into through our Kogi elders? Let's ask Anastasia White. She's a renowned expert in the Chinese mantic arts with a lifelong dedication to studying and teaching the interconnected disciplines of Chinese medicine, astrology, divination, and feng shui. Let us ask her to tell us about the potential of the wood snake lunar year. Anastasia, welcome. There you are.
Here I am. Thank you very much, Banafsheh. I'm really happy. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with you today and to share with you what I know, what I intuit. I mean, as an astrologer, you're always, and as a teacher of anything, you're always getting the the preferences of the person speaking. And so I would say that, this is my colors onto what the Chinese say about the year of the Yinwood snake. So I'm going to share with you a document that you can read along with if you'd like to as I talk. Yeah, and there it is. So we're in the Yinwood snake year. And it's, as Jim was speaking, I was quite, well, I don't know why I get quite so blown away with the serendipitous of of uh, everybody who's into making this world a better place. But this year it's called the Big Yin. The snake is the big yin of the zodiac, and just the whole, as we opened with the song and the image, the video that went with the song in the opening with the water, and then having Jim talk about the importance of this year's journey to France, the water, and it's a water year. It's a yin wood snake year, and the snake is known as the big yin of the Chinese zodiac. It and as the big yin, what we say when we talk about yin is that it's the unknown, it's the mystical, it's the spiritual, it's the alchemical realms, and this is the kind of energy that, and we would say in Chinese astrology, I like to use the word, this is the qi. This is the qi that's being, let's say, poured upon, because we're talking about water, that's poured upon the world this year, is this yin energy. And it's unknown, it's mystical, it's the opposite of what we just came from, the dragon. So whenever we look at in any of the Chinese sciences, we always look at what came before and what's going to come after. There's never a sense of just look at one thing, but you have to look at everything that's around that. Yeah. So we came from the Yangwood Dragon Year of 2024, and we go, which we talk about in Chinese astrology as the Big Yang. The dragon, again, is a very mystical. It's completely unknown animal to us. But it's big, it's in the sky, it flies, it has that really strong yang, powerful yang energy. And then we go straight into the Yinwood snake. And the snake is the underground, is the yin, is the big uh, inward and hidden and powerful transformative qi. And when we talk about yin and yang in Chinese medicine or in Chinese cosmology, we don't talk about one being weak and one being strong. The dragon is no stronger than the snake. The strength is in a different way. The strength of the dragon is outward. The strength of yang is putting things outward, is a sense of the energy going out of you into the manifest world. The world of the snake is the opposite. It's what aren't you seeing? It's the strength of the other side. Yeah. So it is a very powerful year, equally as powerful, this yin wood snake, as the yang wood dragon. And when we think of the snake, when you think about the snake, you see the image of the green snake. And there's so many layers in Chinese astrology. So this is a yin wood is the newest of the snakes. We can think of the energy of this snake this year as a gardener snake, as a very young snake, yeah, as not a if you go around the 5 elements, you would, you look at, this is the beginning, the spring snake, yeah. We're not to the fire snake. They're not venomous. They're gardener snakes. They're, you know, they're young. And so we think about this particular snake this year as not ferocious, but very, very imaginative and very inquisitive. And then we want to look at the snake, generally the symbol of the snake in the world. And the snake is in every culture. Snakes, they're truly, it's a part of all of the goddesses and deities of so many cultures. The snake is very big in, of course, in the Chinese. There's an image I'm showing you of Nu Hua, and she's a snake woman. She's one of the deities that created humans by the river out of the mud. Yeah, the snake medicine in Chinese medicine is very important. The snake skin is used. There's snake elixirs that are used. We know in Greek medicine, the snake is very part of it. We know that the snake is part of many of the goddesses and gods. It's associated with passion, with the hidden, with sexual energy. And I would want to say death. If there's one place in the circle of yin and yang of the Chinese cosmology where we put death, is we put it right at the end of water for a moment of stillness until we go into wood, which is where we're at now, this yin wood, this very young wood. Yeah. So you want to look at the whole, your whole feeling about snakes. I mean, to me, when I think about snakes, I think two things: a little bit scary. You know, you want to step back a little bit. You want to be, careful with them, but also completely magical in the sense that they draw in. You know, there's a mystical, an unknown about them that sort of draws us in as well. I want to talk a little bit about yin wood again and its correlation, because when we talk, every year we go through another element. So the elements, you know, this is the geometry, the mathematic of Chinese sciences is yin yang, and then there's 5. There's 2, and then there's 5, basically. And we go into this to the 5 elements. And in the 5 elements, we're in the yin wood. And this corresponds to the spring and to beginnings, to again, to renewing, to youngness. You know, there's a youthfulness and a responsiveness, an ambition, an appetite for knowledge. These are the kinds of energies that are available through the chi of the snake. So it's a fabulous year if you want to go back into studying any kind of mystical tradition. There's lots of energy and lots of chi this year for that to happen. It's this willingness and ability, and I use the word subordinate, and a lot of people don't really, they don't like the word subordinate. They don't like the idea of subordination. But what the energy this year is, just like the image of the snake that you're seeing, is this real flexibility. Yeah, this ability to really move, and that's what I mean by subordinate. There's a hidden, a graceful, a flexible strength that is available to us this year. And you know, we tend to be more comfortable with the yang, with the extroverted kind of outwardly, you know, manifestation of this world. And oftentimes less comfortable with this hidden, with this mystical, this unknown part of us, you know? So I invite you all to really think about that and exercise that, because you want to think about we think about in Chinese astrology as the animals are giving, are uh, showering us with a certain kind of qi this year. And we can also, my teacher also oftentimes use the word buffet, that this is the yin wood snakes buffet for the year. And so we look at that energy of the yin wood snake and what's on the buffet table this year. And this is how the Taiwanese and the Hong Kong um, astrologers talk about what the animals, what is it, a good year, is it a, is it a less good year for some animals. And really all it is like, this is, if you understand what the chi buffet is for the year, you either indulge in it, and as I just mentioned, the indulgence, the chi is there for you if you want to go into study, if you want to go into letting go, shedding your skin like a snake, then this is a really good year for this, letting go of stuff, bringing in new stuff, because it's got that energy of the yin wood. Talking about snake people, I always talk about at least the snake person, and usually don't talk about anybody else in the lineup, because I don't go through each one of the animals. But to get an idea of snake people, and this is, if you know any snakes, which I'm everybody knows some snakes. Maybe you don't know if they are snakes, and they're not easily known. They're very self-reflective. They're very charming. And when I use the word charming for the chi of people that were born in the snake years, I often think of the Indian snake charmers. The snakes think deeply, and they reflect on the circumstances before they make a move. Their moves are quick and well aimed. And this is something that I want you to take away, is that think about that this year. Think about waiting to make the move. Think about really reflecting before you make the move. It isn't like we should all, crawl into our beds for the whole year, but it's a sense of taking a step backwards, particularly from the year of the dragon, where the energy was like, go for it. Whatever you want to do this year in the manifest it. This year, it's like reflect. Just sit back for a minute and become, a little bit more reflective and aimed at where you want to go. I would also say that the snake people, they blend into social situations. They can disappear. They're much like a snake in a tree. You can be walking around, and you don't even notice the snakes, until they make themselves known. They're very loyal in relationships. They keep secrets. There's a secretive part of them. Interestingly, they find change difficult, and they also recover slowly, both from physical and emotional trauma. That's a little bit about the snake people. So when we talk about snake people, we want to keep in mind all of that, because again, that's the chi that's available to us this year. In terms of our own self-cultivation, it's really cultivating through your mystical or spiritual self. So it's a wonderful year to go on retreats, to certainly in the geometry. I mean, I love the idea of studying the geometry this year, and the water. This is, again, the big yin of the zodiac, of the Chinese zodiac, is giving its qi, is making available its qi and demonstrating its qi this year. So discovering something new, something inward. a shedding of an old skin. This is what's available in terms of our self-cultivation this year. Creativity, very yin wood, being very creative, and really renewing a version of yourself. It's really shedding a skin. Is a really good image that I would leave you with. It calls us to use our yin qi, yeah, our inner yin qi, and it really is a grace of quiet strength. This is the energy that's available, quiet strength this year. So I would suggest timing, really being patient. I mean, if you've ever seen a snake hunt, they can be hours just laying there, you know. I mean, there's one video I saw, this huge snake she was like outside of her hole, and she sat there. I mean, this rat that she was hunting came by her 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And one time even ran over her head, and she did not move. The timing was unbelievable. And then without even being able to see it, she was so quick, the mouse was gone in her mouth. So this thing of conserving your energy, being patient, using your intuition, really trusting your gut. It's kind of a cliche word, but really this year is really asking us, and not only asking us, but really making available this thing of trusting our gut and reflecting and releasing. That's what this year is about. Now, I talked about before and after. Reflecting, releasing, your timing, going inside, being slightly more quiet. This is the chi that's available. Because we're going to move into a yang horse year next year. So planning for what we're going to do in the yang horse year this is a perfect year for it. Because again, we're going from yin, we're going to go up to yang into the horse. And the horse is all about getting it done, yeah? In terms of our culture, we need to be very flexible this year. There's all kinds of unseen and unknown situations that we don't even see them. It's like a snake. It's like, you don't even see the snake in the grass or in the tree, and suddenly it manifests. Suddenly you see it, And we really need this chi of responses instead of reactions. And again, this is the kind of chi that's really available to us this year. So practicing it and putting it on, seeing how it works for you. Medicine and health are a big part of what we associate with the snake year, and these are themes of the year. Science and innovative technologies, they'll go on, and of course AI is very big, and using it in modern medicine is where it can really shine, I think, in modern medicine. And we also see that the plant and energy medicines are really coming to the surface. Yeah, these old ways of manipulating and understanding energies are getting renewed again, and it's supporting a whole lot of self-healing that we all need desperately, and will need more and more. I also think that things will come out of the ground, yeah, rather than gigantic earthquakes. I think that there'll be earthquakes, but I think there'll be volcanoes, things coming up out of the ground. I also think archaeology is just going to go nuts in this next year. I mean, there's really going to be a sense of rewriting history. It's going to be so obvious that the old school of archaeology is going to have to give way to this again, these new obvious discoveries in archaeology that really rewrite our history in a different way. And then the occult sciences will just, because of the snake year, because of this inner mystical thing, there'll just be more and more practitioners will be coming out. More and more people will be seeing, they're experiencing their inner abilities to know, to intuit, to be able to manipulate. And we'll see more and more of that and be able to share more and more of that with each other. So again, I want to just leave you with timing and being patient, trusting your intuition, and reflecting and releasing. This is the energy that's available to us this year. And the Chinese would say is ride the energy. Ride the energy that is available. And, sometimes you don't want to ride it. Sometimes you get to the buffet of the snake and it's like, I don't know, I'm not into it. And the Chinese would say, yeah, okay, well, then you just step back from the buffet table. Again, there's sort of a step back thing. You sort of hold back a little bit. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, and then I have one more thing. There is a song by Bob Marley, and it is called "The Natural Mystic." And when I heard it, it just reminded me so much of this year. It just talks about a wind. A mystic wind is blowing. It talks about things aren't what they used to be. And, I don't want to paint it to be that, everything is going to work out really nice and we're all going to get saved this year, because that's not the case with yin either. Yin I think that there will be sweeping situations of lots of people dying. Yeah. Because this is yin. But within it, back to this song, there's a mystic wind blowing, and it's blowing very distinctly this year. And so listening to that mystic wind, the mystic wind within us, the mystic wind, if we listen in, then we can see it on the outside. Yeah, that we can feel it on the outside, that we can follow it on the outside, be comfortable with it. Yeah. So I really am very happy to come and talk to you every year. This is my second year coming, and I hope that I can share with you what my feelings about the horse year next year. Thank you for your attention, and be well. Be well.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. That was very, very profound, informative. Thank you for giving us a guidance through this year. I love how you were talking about the snake representing the invisible. So that inviting us to in inward and become more cognizant of that, and how powerful it is, how that's the source of our actions, where the source of our actions need to be. Can you speak a little bit about the connection of the snake to the divine feminine, as it has been associated with the goddess over time, yet in so many cultures, it is regarded as ominous and evil?
I think to me it's the association through my lens of the Chinese occult sciences, is the association to the yin, to the feminine, and the idea of the strength and the energy. The feminine holds life and death. That's where it's in the water element of the feminine. And so I think that it's been, so many of the goddesses that have been associated with snakes. I mean, sometimes I think of, like, when I think about snakes and goddesses, Medusa. I mean, this powerful, all she had to do was look at you. It's just like, there's a power within yin that has to do not only with birth, but with death. Yeah. And I think that's the association that is the scary, the dark, the dark side of yin. But where,
Great mystery.
where else could it be? I mean, there's got to be a dark. There just has to be a dark. That's what I mean. How uncomfortable are we with the dark?
The
Um,
great mystery, right? The great mystery, the great unknown.
exactly, exactly. And in Chinese medicine, we talk about being able to sleep. I mean, in Chinese medicine, when we sleep, they say we're practicing dying. And I can tell you what the most sold pharmaceutical or drug are sleeping aids. Not only out of the drugstore, it's number one. This ability to fall into the yin and
Yes.
be comfortable there.
And so would you say that this is also a very potent year to really tune into our dreams and to record them, to reflect on them?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Dreaming is a really, if that's something that, yeah, that calls to you, it's an excellent year to go
Yeah.
into some kind of dream.
It's a big part of our annual pilgrimage to Chartres, dream circles. The dream work is a huge part of it. And we will talk about that more in subsequent community calls.
I
I want
love that you guys are doing this year because it's just, it's a perfect
every year, yeah. But yeah, this year,
this
yeah,
focus on water, this focus on numbers, geometry, I mean, that's the basis of the Chinese occult sciences and medicine is the numbers. The Chinese sometimes can say, we're just numbers. We're five elements, we're yin yang, we're a combination of numbers.
thank you so much, Anastasia. Thank you. I'm going to ask Jim if he has any questions for you, and also everyone else, if you'd like to put your questions in the chat for Anastasia.
Thank you, Mon-Fri. Thank you, Anastasia. I love your presentation, and I want to make the following comment and ask your further elaboration. I was struck by your notion that one of the qualities of the snake is not to engage in immediate action, but to reflect before one acts as of singular importance in this particular year. And I want to frame it in the following way. The stresses on all of us are escalating exponentially. Just keeping up with what the Trump administration is doing in its assault on American governmental, academic, and civic institutions, we're sustaining one shock after another, and the stresses that ensue from that make us more and more reactive.
Mm.
There's more road rage, there's more domestic violence, there's more drug abuse, as people are no longer able to do exactly what you're saying, and that is before you act, reflect. So I'd love to have you comment on that particular quality of the snake, because just very recently, I've observed myself becoming more reactive. Maybe it's because I'm in Washington, D.C., and I have to keep up with what's going on. But speak to us about that particular quality of in some ways, a hesitation and a reflectivity before one reacts.
I think I think I experience it to be difficult to do this, and I don't. I think that it's especially as you say when there's a lot of energy around us that is not doing that. Yeah. So I guess I would, I guess I would say lean on if you've had some kind of self-cultivating practice over some years, heavily lean on that this year. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you're,
Practice is important. Yep.
yes,
Yep.
and if you're starting one, heavily lean on it this year, because that, to me, that's really what you have to do, not to react immediately, But I've seen the magic of knowing Chinese astrology and being aware of the chi that's available in every year, in every hour. There's a dirt. I mean, it's an ever moving, situation going on here. It's movement itself. So I would lean on that chi. Try it one time. Try it, try it just if try. When something happens, the next thing that happens to everybody, every one of us here, try to just reflect for 1 second and see what happens. Yeah. Because that's the way we understand, wow, there is chi. There is chi available for me to reflect for 1 second sometimes. And you might completely lose it, but you had that one moment of reflection. That is the yin, is that one moment when you remembered, okay, let me step back, and then maybe you just completely lost it, which, we do, but there's that moment of knowing it, and practicing that is what I would say is available. You'll see how it is, because it is.
And then my second question emanates out of what Bonafshe said about the relationship between this year of the snake as the most yin of the signs in a year where the yang assault on our senses and our politics and our economics and our institutions is going to require us to become more and more yin in order to survive what's coming. We're no longer in an era where we can fight what is. The forces of the dark side are too ascendant. We have to be much more like little Frodo in Lord of the Rings, where we're going to Mordor, little in a surreptitious, serpentine way, slithering through to gain access to the mighty mountain. And so it's particularly important, I think, that we're studying in Chartres this year water, the most yin of all things, and it's a green snake, a water snake, and so forth and so on. And I just wanted to test out my intuition based on what you said, that this is a year not only for practice, but this is a year for as much yin as we can cultivate in our personalities. Would that be a correct reading of what you're trying to say?
I would say it's a very correct reading of what you're saying. And again, the energy is there to do it. It isn't like we're worst thing at all. It's like just like a snake, slide into it, because it's really there and available for us. And absolutely, that strength of waiting, the strength of sitting back and waiting in some way. Yeah. The pausing. That's what yin is. It's a pause. It's that moment of pause. And we call it death. We call it, the darkest of dark. But it's just a pause before we renew again. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Like a pause for guidance, right?
Pause for guidance. Pause for guidance. And then there's just the final thing, and then we can take questions, Bonafshe, is I'm struck at what you said, that this year is going to be the year of archaeology. I was just reading this morning that scientists have uncovered a great big pyramid underneath the ice in Antarctica. And the ice in Antarctica goes back tens of thousands of years. What's a pyramid doing underneath the ice in Antarctica? And more, like Göbekli Tepe, everything that we're finding out archaeologically is that the world and humanity and civilization is much more ancient than anybody thought in the conventional textbooks that we've been learning since we were young. So I'm just intrigued that the year of the snake, the most yin of the signs, is going to be a year of it's sort of in some ways where the bottom falls out of our sense of history and time
Mm,
to
mm,
something much more ancient, in some ways much more yin.
mhm.
Yeah, good one. Good
Yeah,
one. Good. Really appreciate this. Really
yeah,
appreciate.
you want to think about where the snake lived. The snake lives underground.
Oh yeah.
So it's this idea of things kind of seeping up, yeah, coming up from this really deep,
Hmm.
dark place.
Hmm.
However you want to see that. Deep dark is scary, and and deep dark has got a very powerful thing. But yeah, yeah, that's what makes me think about more like volcanoes, more like things coming up from the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Good. 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 So I'll turn it back over to you, Banashe.
Yeah, Jim, what you said is exactly what I'm thinking about. What we will be engaging in Chartres, at least with the movement and with the dance practices that I'm envisioning, is really to embody more this quality of water, the quality of yin. And what an amazing place to do that, right? The womb of the world, the home of, one of the homes of the divine feminine. So I think it's very potentiated to be there in Chartres this year, in this year of the wood snake, as we
Exactly.
store water and embody that, which our world needs so much.
Mm,
And I want to see if people have questions for Anastasia about this year, any specific questions and what she presented.
I'm just putting the link to our Chartres pilgrimage, everyone, in the chat, so you can download it. And I hope everybody plans on coming. It's going to be a sensational, sensational year to be there.
And
yes.
and Anastasia, we also hear that the snake is one of the animals. I mean, the animal that's closest to the earth. So
Mm,
this invitation to come in more in harmony with the earth, with
Oh
our
yeah, that's a
earth.
yeah,
good point.
absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it
it lives in the earth
lives
and
in the earth.
spends a lot of time in down under. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hadn't thought about that before.
No,
That
they're
of
so,
all
yeah,
the animals, it's the closest to the earth because it's slithering on the earth all the time. Most of
and
the
live
rest of us
in
have
the earth.
legs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. And Anastasia, what uh, would be your guidance for people as they think about practice? You mentioned practice as your first comment. Is there a particular practice in the Chinese tradition that is associated with the year of the snake? Is there a particular practice that you know of that is particularly attuned to the cultivation of yin?
Well, I would say, I think that all, all of the practices from all of the traditions are really important. But I would say that if I was going to take the yin one, it's really the stillness, sitting still, sitting, standing, laying still, focusing inside. Yeah.
Mhm.
This would be really the one that I would choose, opposed to like pranayama or yoga or other kinds of disciplines or practice. I would say the practice of starting really with 5 minutes sitting quietly and not, just don't move, just like a snake, don't move, for the 5 minutes, and then however long that you can do that, that practice of that, of being able to sit still,
Mhm.
to sit still in stillness. Yeah, that would be my practice for this year. If I was going to suggest somebody start it, however you can do that. And there's many, many ways to begin. If you want to start any kind of practice, it's so available to us now with what we're doing right now. You know, just inspiring each other, trying to, you know, bring up that energy that we have within us to make change in this world. And it's available more and more. All you have to do is look. Yeah.
And to bring that stillness into our movement, into whatever practice we have, and into our day-to-day living. Someone here is asking about the snake as a symbol of awakening, as it is referred to in the Kundalini.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know, how does one in certain yogic practice, how does one actually feel that Kundalini is the stillness? Oftentimes when if we're moving a lot, and I would say at the same time, you can feel it in movement, because I know dancing with you, Mon-Fri, these many years that I've now been dancing with you, I feel that Kundalini. I feel the energy rising, you know, within me, making that available now in so many different ways, you know. But I believe for me, I found it in my first practice of stillness, of sitting still, yeah, is where I first understood that and experienced that Kundalini rising.
You know, that's at the heart of the whirling that you teach.
Absolutely.
Is you're whirling around and round, but there's this stillness right in the middle as you whirl. You know, it's the stillness. Out of the stillness comes the dance.
Exactly. Yeah. And the more your movement is infused with the stillness, and you're in touch with the stillness, the more you're in touch with the yin, and the more rooted and grounded and centered you feel. So that everything isn't just rising and kind of you're leaving your body or something, but you're really grounding and rooting and centering and staying in touch with that, with the yin energy, and cultivating it more and more. Anastasia, someone asked earlier in the chat that she's very excited about launching a project, but you said in this year to be more reflective and you know, more in touch with a slower pace, perhaps. How would you advise someone who wants to launch and go forward? I mean, it doesn't mean don't do that, right? It just means have a different quality.
It doesn't mean don't do that. I think what it means is that, just as I said, make the timing right. If you know, if you're pushing up against something, this isn't the year. There's some years, like last year, if you had an obstacle because of the yang energy of the dragon, you could just push through it, you know, just push through it. This year is saying, if you come up against the obstacle, step back. Rather than push through it, step back and look, where is the opening? Because usually when we're pushing against here, the door's open over here. You know, we're just like, it's here. I got to do it here, push it here, you know? So this person who's asking about this project, it's like, make sure that if you're pushing here, look behind you and see if the door isn't open there. It's a pause, that's all. Just pause before you make, you know, the movements. And I think you'll have a better year of launching anything that you're launching this year.
Beautiful.
Well, good. Thank you. That's probably a nice note with which to close, everyone. Thank you so much, Anastasia. It's like last year, you've been very informative and you've provided very wise counsel, because there's a lot of snakes around in Washington. And we have to out-snake them. So, Mon-Fri, on that happy note, why don't you give us a closing blessing?
On the out-snaking note, yeah. Yes, everyone. So, in reverence to the divine feminine, the big yin, maybe open ourselves to the ever flowing currents of the living water of life, allowing its wisdom to move through us, reflecting on and releasing what doesn't serve. And as we embody the yin energy of water, fluid, receptive, and nurturing, maybe bring healing and balance, calming the fires of division, fear, and chaos in a world on fire. So, with that, I give you my love, all of us here. Then we'll come together in March to welcome spring, right, Jim?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, Mon-Fri. And thank all of you in our community. This is just a work of love for all of us, and it's so powerful to be contemplating these noble issues, as we've just heard, embodied in a small slithering snake. Great wisdom there. Enjoy, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Stay strong. See you next month. Bye for now.
Stay strong and flexible.